Okay, so let's dive right in. You're thinking about maybe hitting Maui, May 2025.
Sounds fantastic. A great time to go.
Totally. But then, the big question, maybe not $1 million, but still the car rental.
Yeah. How do you even approach that? When's the right time? Is the price you see now the real deal?
Exactly. It was like the crucial puzzle piece for an island trip,
Right.
getting a handle on it.
For sure. Smart thinking.
So for this deep dive, we've got this recent report. It really breaks down Maui car rental prices, like from all angles.
Sure.
We're talking current costs, how they've been trending, some forecasts for the next few weeks.
Educated guesses, yeah.
Right. And even how Maui stacks up against the other islands.
Interesting comparison.
So our mission here really is to cut through all that data noise and pull out the key stuff to help you lock in, the best possible car rental for that May trip.
Let's do it. Where do we start? What jumps out first?
Okay, so the report looks at right now, the week of April 28th, 2025. And basically prices are in that kind of off-season range, pretty sweet spot.
Like low season?
Yeah, and apparently they're hovering near their lowest point in almost a year.
Wow. Okay.
The absolute cheapest they found. $207 for the week. That was from Payless.
$207.10?
Not bad.
Though it did nudge up like 4% from the week before.
Ah, okay. Still pretty low, historically speaking, then.
Exactly. But interestingly, the report flags some pretty big swings for specific types of cars week over week.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, midsize cars, for example, they jumped up 19% from Payless, so $252 a week now.
19%.
But then Jeeps, they actually got cheaper, down 11% from budget, $364 a week.
Okay, Jeep's down.
Now get this, convertibles. From Thrifty, they practically doubled, up a massive 87%.
87%? Wow. To what?
$487 a week. Big jump.
Yikes. Someone wants a convertible this week.
Must be. SUVs also climbed 35% from $50 to $285. The bigger seven-seaters dipped just a tiny bit, 2%.
Right.
And minivans, this is interesting, from Payless, they took a nosedive, down 33%. 33%, that's significant.
Yeah, down to $355 a week, which the report says is the lowest minivan price they've seen since last June.
Wow. So minivans are a deal right now, maybe from Payless specifically.
Seems like it, and that really highlights, why you got to look at the specific type of car you need. It's not just one flat market.
Absolutely. Those category changes are key.
But here's a really important point from the current snapshot. The report stresses that prices for all vehicle types across the board are currently below their one-year median price.
Okay, so below the average for the last year. That's a good sign overall then.
Definitely suggests we're in a, generally favorable price zone right now.
And you mentioned minivans being the lowest since last year.
Yeah, and Jeep prices are also way below their median.
So specific opportunities there if that's what you're looking for. Maybe Payless has too many minivans or Budget got a new shipment of Jeeps, who knows?
Could be. Pure speculation, but yeah, those big shifts usually mean something's up. Okay, so the present looks pretty decent, maybe even good. But what about the near future, your May trip?
Yeah, what's the crystal ball say? What does the report suggest for the next few weeks?
Well, looking at the bigger picture, like historically.
Based on their 5 years of data.
Right. That data suggests prices usually stay relatively low through the spring, like right up until mid-June.
Makes sense. That typical lull after spring break and Easter before the summer rush hits.
Exactly. Avoid the peaks if you can.
But there's always a but, isn't there?
Hey, seems like it. The report also drills down into the specific forecast for the next 5 weeks. Late April into late May.
Okay, near term. What's that look like?
Interestingly, even though history suggests lower spring prices overall, the online reservation systems right now are actually showing prices kind of creeping upwards from where they are today.
So the booking systems predict a rise, even if historically it's low season.
Seems that way for advanced bookings. And the report breaks out that forecast data comparing airport rentals OGG versus off-airport spots.
Okay, yeah, give us a feel for those numbers.
Sure. So for a rental starting like right now, April 27th, the forecast shows $217 at the airport.
Which matches the current cheapest price we saw.
Right. And off airport, a bit cheaper, $208.
Yeah, okay.
Fast forward a couple weeks, maybe May 11th, airport price is forecast at $248.
Up quite a bit.
Yeah. But off-airport stays lower, still $208 according to the forecast.
Interesting. Flat off-airport rising at OGG.
Then towards the end of May, say the 25th, airport forecast hits $260. Off-airport is $218.
So still cheaper off-airport, but both rising by then.
And into early June, that gap looks like it widens even more.
So the takeaway from the forecast seems to be booking ahead at the airport looks like it gets progressively more expensive through May.
Yeah, and those off-airport places look like the more budget-friendly bet, at least based on these advanced booking forecasts.
Which naturally brings us to that big question. Timing.
The classic dilemma. Book it now, lock it in, or wait, roll the dice for a last-minute bargain.
What does the data suggest there? Advance versus waiting.
It's pretty striking, actually, looking at the long term, that 5-year average. The report says last-minute prices, like booking really close to your trip, are cheaper than booking way in advance almost 90% of the time.
90%? Wow. That's quite a stat.
Isn't it? The times where it flips, where a last minute gets more expensive, that tends to be those peak holiday times.
Right, high demand seasons.
Yeah.
So generally playing it cool and booking closer to the date has paid off historically.
Seems that way. And they specifically mention Memorial Day, end of May.
Yeah.
Historically, booking last minute around then could save you like $100 a week on the cheapest cars compared to booking early.
$100 difference. Definitely worth remembering if your trip is around then.
For sure. But the report also notes some more recent kind of wrinkles in this pattern, late 2024, early 2025.
Okay. What happened more recently?
Well, there was this period like early January to mid-February this year where last-minute prices for economy cars, specifically from the airport, were actually way higher.
Higher? How much higher?
On average, $152 a week more than booking just 1 week in advance.
Whoa. Okay, so that really bucked the trend. Must have been some unusual demand then.
Yeah, a real exception. That was a time where booking just a bit ahead, like a week out, was definitely the smarter play.
Good to know it can swing both ways.
Right. But the report says since late February, things have kind of swung back.
Back to the last minute is often better trend.
Yeah. Prices booked 1 week in advance or even last minute have both been lower than the price you'd get booking 5 weeks out.
Okay.
And the feeling is that this recent trend is likely to stick around for the next few weeks.
So for trips coming up soon, holding off a bit might be the play again.
Looks like it. Or at least keeping a very close eye on those last-minute deals. They even gave a specific example for this week, April 28th, for the cheapest compact car.
Let's hear it. How did the timing play out?
Okay, booking 5 weeks ago for this week would have cost $269.
Right.
Booking just 1 week ago, $204.
Big difference.
Yeah. And the actual last-minute day of price.
Right.
$217.
So slightly higher than 1 week out, but still way better than 5 weeks out.
Exactly. So in that specific case, 1 week out was the absolute sweet spot.
Interesting nuance there.
But the overall message for the coming weeks seems to be last-minute or close-in bookings are likely cheaper than booking way ahead.
So maybe don't rush to lock something in months out.
Right. And they even suggest, hey, if you already booked for May and your reservation can be canceled,
check again closer to the time.
Yeah. Might be worth rebooking if you see a better rate pop up.
That's super practical advice. Especially if there's no cancellation penalty.
Definitely. Okay, so we've hit the when. What about the where? Airport versus off-airport locations. Big difference usually.
Typically, yeah. The report kind of confirms the usual thinking. Off-airport is generally cheaper.
Why is that again? Lower taxes?
Lower taxes and fees usually, yeah. And they don't have that, convenience premium you pay right at the airport terminal.
Makes sense. Pay for the easy access. But you said the report mentioned a recent twist.
Correct. Over this past winter and spring, things got a bit weird.
How so?
High demand and maybe limited cars at some off-airport spots actually pushed their prices higher than the airport sometimes. So the usual rule didn't always apply recently.
Exactly. For a while, the conventional wisdom was flipped.
So what's the situation now? This week's survey.
Well, as of the survey they did April 27th, it looks like the normal pattern is kind of coming back.
Meaning off-airport is cheaper again.
For some vehicle types, yes. They suggest maybe the airport locations, with their bigger fleets, might have a bit of a surplus in certain car classes.
Leading to more competitive prices at the airport for those specific cars.
Could be. So the bottom line is you really have to check both.
Yeah, compare airport and off-airport for the specific car you want close to your dates. Don't just assume one is always cheaper.
Exactly. And this survey covered a decent range of companies at OGG, right?
There's 14 rental companies at the airports. It's a pretty broad look at the market there.
Good. Okay, let's zoom out again. How's Maui looking price-wise compared to the other Hawaiian Islands right now?
It's actually kind of surprising in a good way. For this week, April 28th,
Yeah.
Maui's Kahului Airport, OGG, had the lowest average 1 week rental cost, $214.
Wow, cheapest. I might have guessed Honolulu or somewhere else.
Nope, Maui, though that $204 was up slightly from the week before, but still compared to the others.
How did they compare?
Honolulu was $269, Kauai $268, Kona $261, Hilo $266.
Okay, so they're all kind of in that same ballpark, that 260-something range.
Pretty much, all in a similar low season range, but Maui is definitely coming in cheaper.
How much cheaper on average?
About $50 a week less than the average of those other big airports.
Hey, $50 is $50. Nice little bonus for picking Maui.
Every bit helps.
Okay, so we've covered current prices, forecasts, timing, locations, island comparisons. Where does all this info actually come from? Sounds like a lot of tracking.
It is. They detail it in the report. They've been tracking 7 vehicle categories from 10 companies at OGG since July 2024.
Okay, pretty detailed recent tracking.
And their weekly tracking of just the cheapest economy car goes back even further to July 2023.
Ah, longer trend line for the budget option.
Right. And they even mentioned pulling from a bigger 5-year study they did before from 2013 to 2018, also on economy cars.
Wow, okay. So they have a good chunk of historical context, too. And the sources, like website?
Yeah, primarily rentalcars.com, and then their own booking platform, which is rentals.mycarental.biz.
Got it. So quite a bit of data grounding these conclusions.
Yeah, clearly.
And speaking of their booking site, rentals.mycarental.biz, sounds like that could be useful for someone planning now.
Absolutely. The report points you to their cars and rates section, or just the main site.
And it covers multiple companies.
Yeah, 8 major ones: Ace, Alamo, Avis, Budget, Dollar, Enterprise, Payless, and Thrifty.
Okay, good coverage.
And crucially, it covers all their Maui locations, airport, Kahului town, even the resort areas like Kaanapali or Wailea.
Oh, that's handy. Not just airport.
Right. Gives you lots of options.
Yeah.
And maybe the biggest plus they highlight:
What's that?
no cancellation penalty. Ever.
Oh, that I is huge, especially with the advice about maybe rebooking later.
Exactly. Gives you that flexibility. Book something, maybe, keep looking, and switch if a better deal comes along closer to your trip. No risk.
Perfect. It fits right in with that whole keep an eye on last-minute rate strategy.
Precisely.
All right, let's try and wrap this all up then. For you, our listener, dreaming of that Maui trip in May 2025, what are the absolute key takeaways from this report?
I'd say number 1, right now is generally a good time to be looking. Off-season prices are around. But pay close attention to the specific car type you need. Prices are moving differently across categories. Minivans cheap, convertibles not so much this week.
Good point.
That booking timing. While the advanced forecasts show prices rising into May, the historical data and the recent trend suggest you might actually save money by waiting. Looking at last-minute or maybe 1-week-out bookings could be cheaper than booking way, way ahead.
So consider holding off on locking that rate in super early and maybe rebook if you find something better.
Exactly. And don't forget to compare airport versus off-airport. The old rule, off-airport is cheaper, seems to be coming back for some cars, but check both.
And remember, Maui is currently looking like the value leader among the major islands for rentals.
That $50 difference, yeah.
And definitely check out that booking site they mentioned, rentals.mauicarental.biz. Lots of options, covers the whole island, and that crucial no cancellation fee.
Yep. Keep these things in mind, stay alert as your dates get closer, and you should be in a really good spot to find a decent deal for Maui.
Absolutely. So, thinking about all this, these shifting prices, the booking strategies for cars, kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Anyway.
Well, what other parts of your trip might have these kinds of hidden savings opportunities if you looked at the data? Like, do flights or hotels follow similar patterns? Could you save money there, too, by timing things right?
That's a really interesting thought. Maybe the patterns are similar elsewhere.
Definitely something to chew on as you plan the rest of that amazing Maui getaway.